right, meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. Let's give it a few seconds. Still waiting on my screen.
Yeah, there's 16 people waiting on the original link I sent out. We had to create a new link. The new one might point to it. So if you're over on the original link I sent out, then hop on over to the new one we just created.
Let us see.
Yeah, there's 16 people waiting on
the other
one.
link.
Yeah. We will get that sorted eventually.
Hey, Lead Trance. Love you too, Lead Trance. Sorry to everyone who was on the other stream link. We thought we would be able to merge the two links together, but we have some issues with Zoom. Hey, Gustavo.
Yeah.
Srinivas, hi.
Okay, you can see him jumping in. Yeah, I'm still on the old link. There's still a few people over there. What I have to figure out, my shortfall here is I got to figure out how to put the stream key in Zoom. I haven't figured that out yet. That's the key. The stream key is the key. It
Crypto
should have
Mike, relax.
to that link.
Envious. Rick, should we drop a message in the other?
I just did. I said, new link, please click the channel name. If you click on the channel name for the Cardano effect, it'll take you back to the upper level channel. Then you can click live. But there's no good way of doing that I can see yet.
I hope everyone's enjoying their Sunday. Falcon Eye Vision, yes, we're starting in just a moment. We were just fixing some troubleshooting issues. We had another link up, and we weren't able to merge it in Zoom, so we had to start a new link. Mashar Turk, how you doing? Just give us a few seconds. We're just trying to get everyone over from that other link. Kyle, how you doing?
All right. Looks like we got enough info out.
Okay.
I think people should be good to go. Hi, everyone.
Okay. So let me start.
Right. Yep.
Welcome, everyone, to the Cardano Effect Podcast, episode 56. The purpose of this podcast is to take high-level developer information and projects that are occurring within the Cardano space and break them down into bite-sized, consumable pieces of information for everyday use. I'm your host, Philippe, and let's get this podcast started. So the hosts of the Cardano Effect Podcast today are Rick and myself. This is our weekly live stream where we recap all of the major news events that happened within the Cardano ecosystem for the past week. We also open it up to the YouTube chat, so we're going to have a dialogue today. We're going to be talking about some important factors, the important issues that are going down this month. So November is the month for Cardano, all about the incentivized testnet, and we're going to just have a good time today. Thank you to everyone for joining us on a Sunday. We really appreciate it. So wherever you are on this planet, we appreciate you tuning in, and we appreciate the support. Remember, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps our podcast. We're trying to grow this as big as possible. So without further ado, I would like to remind everyone that none of what we say on this podcast is financial advice. You are your best financial advisor, and if you don't think you are, you need to find someone who's qualified to do so. So without further ado, Rick, how's your Sunday going? What's going on? What's happening?
Philippe, Sunday's going very well. Thank you for asking. I would like to say thank you to IOHK for sponsoring this podcast. We very much appreciate your efforts in supporting us over here. And I would also like to thank the Cardano Foundation and Emurgo for all of the quality content they provide to help make this podcast possible. We reference a lot of the content and the Reddit thread, so thank you for that as well. I would also like to point out to new viewers that this podcast is available on all audio streaming services. I used to shout out a list. I won't do that anymore. It's on all of them. Pandora in about a week. And then we got them all covered. So with that covered, what we're doing today is we're going over to the Reddit thread, and I'm going to drop that into the comment section, so you guys have reference to the Reddit thread for the incentivized testnet. And there are a lot of good answers from people who are in the know. Some from Emurgo, some answers are from Charles. Charles had an AMA yesterday. It was really good. If you hadn't seen that AMA, I encourage you to check it out. So Philippe, are you going to lead us off with the first question there? We do have a couple screen shares coming up. Philippe recently did a video on how to use Daedalus for the upcoming testnet, the new features in Daedalus, not for the upcoming testnet, but the new features in Daedalus to be aware of. Darko Magic did a video also, so check those videos out and make sure your Daedalus is up to date if you're a Daedalus user. And we're going to hop over to that Reddit thread. I'm going to take a moment to get it dropped into the chat session. I have to do it from the Cardano Effect YouTube account, so I'm going to do that, Philippe, while you get us up and running on
Rick,
Reddit.
I just dropped it in.
Oh, you got, okay, so you're already on that account. Good, thank you, sir.
So for all the viewers out there, if you want to follow along, I dropped the Reddit thread in. You can click that link, and it's all about the incentivized testnet. It was an official question thread, and I believe there was Nico and Sebastian from Emurgo that popped in and answered some questions. So when you see the username KAO0112, that's Nico, and that's an official representative of Emurgo. And for all the Spanish speakers, Nico is doing an AMA tomorrow, I believe. And it's going to be similar to the AMAs for the English speakers, but it's going to prepare all the Spanish speakers of what's going on with the incentivized testnet. So if you need a little bit more clarification and English is not your first language and you speak Spanish, hop over to Nico's AMA tomorrow. Okay, so let us start. The first question was from Jose, so Josseh 80. And Jose asks, will there be a testnet setup for dummies tutorial? And what is needed to stake your ADA on the testnet? And Nico responded, yes, there will be, but it should be pretty straightforward as downloading a new version of Daedalus or Yoroi for the testnet. This assuming that you have your ADA in Yoroi without a ledger or Daedalus. So I would like to clarify that for all the people that are confused, if you have a Daedalus wallet, if you have a Yoroi wallet, after the testnet, after the snapshot, once the testnet starts, you're going to have to download a separate download. So a separate version of Daedalus and a separate version of Yoroi, whichever one you use. And that's what you're going to be using to stake within the testnet. It's going to be completely separate. Rick, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I have a version of it running so people know what they're looking at. There's other questions down below about can you run the testnet, Daedalus, and the non-Daedalus at the same time? Will they conflict? You can. I've got the testnet version of Daedalus pulled up. You want me to screen share that?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. And that way people will know exactly what they're looking at when they're looking at the testnet version as opposed to the real version. Okay. And looks like it's up. All right, so here's the testnet version of Daedalus. And you see in the top right corner here, there's a red badge that says testnet. All right, that way you know you're on the testnet version. I don't know what you're always going to say, but there'll be some other indications. The colors are a little bit different. It's the newer, and this is the newer version. This is the current version, Daedalus 0.15.0. So that is the newest version of Daedalus. If you haven't updated in a while, make sure you update your Daedalus wallet. If you're on Daedalus version 1.2 and earlier, you're going to have to go manually install the new Daedalus from daedaluswallet.io webpage so that it gets on the newer versions and it updates accordingly and migrates, all that kind of stuff. All right, Philippe, so you wanted to go over this briefly?
Yes, so the testnet, it's very interesting. It's a quick download. Usually if you have Daedalus on your computer and you've been keeping up with the updates, there's going to be a little update tab that pops up in the upper corner. Well, it's kind of like a drop down right under where you see Tony Stark. You'll see usually update to node. It's update number 16. So using that information, you can update your computer. Update the Daedalus version, reopen Daedalus. It should reopen automatically. And there are a couple new features which are very cool and very helpful for users when we're going into the testnet. So Rick, if you want to go to the settings tab, well, let's first do the notifications. So in the upper right-hand corner, there is a news feed notification. So this is a news feed where you can submit a feature request, and it's also going to give you the latest news for Cardano, whatever IOHK pushes or Emurgo pushes or the Cardano Foundation. So this is a very important feature because as the testnet comes closer and while we're in the testnet, you may get some crucial or critical updates in the newsfeed, and that's going to allow you to keep up to date of everything that's going on. As you can see, Daedalus 0.15 release notes and feature requests. So feature requests, it's going to take you to another portal, and you can contact IOHK and the Daedalus team and suggest new features, new updates that would make your life easier. So this is all about user interface and the user experience. So please click that and send them a message. I'm sure they're reading it.
Okay.
Rick, did you have anything else to say about the newsfeed?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Okay. And the second setting, if you go into more in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little settings tab. So you can click settings and you can go down and there's a place that says, do you have your wallet recovery phrase? So why is this important? So when the testnet happens, the snapshot's supposed to happen this month and the testnet will come shortly afterwards. You're going to need your seed phrase. The seed phrase is your basically your password for your wallet. It's not your password because you have a separate password for Daedalus, but this is your passphrase that allows you to access your ADA and recover your wallet should your Daedalus crash or should you change computers. Everything about this seed phrase is the most important part of your wallet. And when we download the incentivized testnet version, so the incentivized version of Daedalus or the incentivized version of Yoroi, you're going to have to enter your seed phrase. But wait, what if you misplace your seed phrase? What if you don't know where it is? What if you're not even sure if it's correct? Personally, I have a lot of different wallets with a lot of different seed phrases. So I don't remember exactly which wallet corresponds to which recovery phrase. So you can go to the wallet. So if you're in the Tony Stark wallet or the Steve Rogers wallet, you can go ahead and click and see whether or not your wallet recovery phrase is the correct one. And this will prepare you for the testnet because you're going to have to input these words into the testnet version. So you can click wallet recovery phrase verification and just start entering your phrase, your 12-word wallet phrase, and it'll let you know whether or not it is correct. And there are some people that may not have the correct phrase with them, or they may have lost their phrase. Don't panic. If you're in your wallet, maybe it's time to send it to a new wallet and create a new passphrase before the testnet happens. Just breathe and make sure that you get your 12-word wallet recovery phrase. So this is very important. I think this is a great feature coming into the incentivized testnet. So I will be using it. I will likely be using it after. I'm pretty sure I have the correct wallet recovery phrase, but I probably will use it after the first snapshot. There are going to be 2 snapshots. I want to pass it over to Rick because Rick watched most of the AMA yesterday from Charles. I have missed that. But can you talk a little bit more about the 2 snapshots that Charles referred to yesterday?
Yes, there were 2 snapshots there. Are we done with the screen share? All done,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Looks good. Okay, so there will be 2 snapshots, and it's a really good reason, man. The first snapshot is going to give the opportunity to enter your seed phrase, verify that you have a wallet working on the testnet, whether it's Yoroi or Daedalus, without a ledger or Trezor. You get it working on the testnet. If you have problems, it'll give you time to sort it out. If there are bugs, it'll give you time to submit the bug report and get it fixed. Then there will be a second snapshot sometime later and you'll be good to go. And that was the key. So totally makes sense. I'm totally down with 2 snapshots. They think of everything.
Yes. This is very crucial because something could go wrong and the second chance or the ability to fix your mistakes is crucial. We've been waiting for a long time, and I'm sure that a lot of people want to participate in the incentivized testnet. And that brings us to our disclaimer. And please note that if you do not feel comfortable staking or if you do not feel comfortable removing your ADA, because the next point is you will not be able to stake using your Ledger wallet or any hardware wallet. If you have it on a hardware wallet, you will not be able to participate in the incentivized testnet. Please note that we do not know when the end date for the incentivized testnet is. It could be 2 months, it could be 6 months. Me personally, my opinion, it's probably going to be towards the higher range. We've had a history of taking our time with things and there have been delays. So I don't anticipate that we're going to be off the test net in 1 or 2 months. So if you miss this opportunity, you won't be able to stake for the next 4, 5, 6 months, potentially. But if you have to outweigh the risks and the rewards. So if you do not feel comfortable, just stay to the side. You are responsible for your own funds. No one's fault if something goes wrong. But at the same time, there are proper measures you can put in place to protect your funds and make sure that you are not vulnerable to a hack. And the snapshot is one moment of time, so you can jump in and out. So you can bring it off your ledger and then put it right back on your ledger if you want. But you need to figure out what's best for you. And if you're feeling queasy, best to stay out. Did you want to add anything to that, Rick?
Yeah, Philippe brought up at the beginning of the podcast, right before we started, that if you are not comfortable moving your funds off a ledger or off of the Trezor, then just don't bother participating in the test net, because some people, they have either high risk internet or their computers are in a more hostile environment. So there's a significant risk involved with moving it off a ledger or Trezor. So if you're not comfortable, don't bother. Only if you're comfortable moving your funds and your skill level is sufficient, then you would want to participate. Okay, but that each person has to make their own decision as to whether or not they want to participate, because each person has to assume their own level of risk. So
yes, exactly. Rick, I think we should pop. You go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, questions. I'm with you. I'm tracking.
Okay.
Questions?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to the live chat. That's why we do this live podcast, to get your questions live. The first question that I saw on that list was from Fergus Courtney. Hey guys, are you discussing the two test nets as per Charles' AMA? Yes, we're going into greater detail as best we can. All right.
Yes, and the Revolutionist asks, any info on the staking percentages yet? No info on that.
Yes, there's estimated ranges of 6 to 12% for testnet only, but we'll get to that question a little later. Annual. Someone, Relax King, asks, hey, I bought the Omnis in Germany and it didn't come with a Cardano card. Do you know why? Didn't come with a card.
Oh, this is what I was referring to last week on the Cardano Effect podcast when we had our live stream. I was asking anyone if they ordered it overseas or even domestically within the US if they received a card. It seems that some of the cards, it might have been a limited edition event, so it's only in the pop-up stores in California. So there were a couple locations that came with the card, but I'm not 100% sure that every shoe came with a real chain card. And even on YouTube, the YouTuber that did the promotion for the shoe or had the shoe pre-released, he had the real chain card. But if you look at YouTubers afterwards that got the shoe, they didn't get the card. So I think it's a hit and miss, and you had to get it at a particular location. I hope that helps.
Hopefully it does. And there was another question that says, how big is the testnet download size for a node? From Fergus Courtney, how big is the download of the testnet node? If you're referring to Jormungandr, the zipped file is about 9 megabytes. It expands to something around 100, but when it runs in memory, currently it's running at about 300 megabytes in memory. If you're referring to Daedalus, it's the same size as Daedalus on the mainnet. It's about 250 meg for the wallet, and I forget the size of the blockchain. The blockchain is several hundred megabytes, but the size on disk is a couple of gig. So for relatively modern hard drives, it's a very efficient size. Storage space should not be an issue for any relatively modern computer. I don't have
Yes.
precise numbers in front of me. I wasn't ready for that one. But they're about the same size. But Jormungandr is different.
Yes. Thiago Nunes says we have some position about Yoroi seed on day one. I'm not sure what your question is referring to. You will be able to stake using Yoroi. I also heard recently that Yoroi may not be ready for staking day one. Um, IOHK is building this protocol, so things are going to hit Daedalus first, and then maybe trickle down to. I mean, Sebastian and Nico and everyone at Emurgo needs to work furiously to implement the code afterwards. So, but there is a grace period after the snapshot to when the testnet starts, so that may give Emurgo enough time to get it up and running for day one. But uh, that hasn't been solidified yet. I use Daedalus for a majority of my funds, so I'm not 100% sure, or I'm not. I'm going to keep my funds in Daedalus and go forward with that.
All right. And there's a lot of options to choose from. DVDP is helping answer questions. Thank you for that,
Beautiful.
DVDP. He says the snapshot timing, alleged timing is first one November 12th, and the second one is 2 weeks later. Thank you, DVDP. Feel free to help
Okay.
each other out in the chat.
Envios Directo says, so we need to move funds from Daedalus wallet to a new testnet wallet? Absolutely not. So this is a misconception. You're not going to be moving any funds from your Daedalus main wallet to the testnet wallet. Let me give you an example. Say you hold 1,000 ADA in your main wallet. There will be snapshots. There are going to be 2 snapshots. If you have your seed phrase, all you need to do is sit down and just wait. You are going to download a separate testnet version of Daedalus where you're going to enter your seed phrase. So your 1000 ADA on the main chain, when you download the testnet ADA and enter your seed phrase into the testnet ADA, into the testnet version, you will receive 1000 testnet ADA. You're not going to be sending your mainnet ADA to the testnet. The testnet, for all for clear, in order to clarify this, the testnet is fake. It doesn't exist. Your rewards will be credited back to your mainnet after the end of the testnet, but you don't want to be sending your mainnet ADA to the testnet wallet. The testnet wallet is like a fictitious playground at this point. And once that playground finishes, once the run finishes, then things will start becoming real. But you're not swapping ADA from wallet to wallet. I hope that clarifies your question.
Yeah, they'll both exist simultaneously. It'll
Yes.
exist on the mainnet and it will exist on the testnet simultaneously.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you didn't, and I've someone else asked me a question on my channel about, so I'll get double the funds. The testnet ADA is, you can't spend it, you can't send it back to your mainnet ADA. So even if you have 1,000 ADA and then 1,000 testnet ADA, it's not like you can send your testnet ADA back to your mainnet ADA wallet and say I have 2,000 ADA. No, you'll
Yeah.
have 1,000 here and 1,000 over there.
And additionally, the mainnet ADA will not be collecting rewards at that time.
Yes, correct.
Okay. It'll be it'll be whatever it is. We're going to go back over to the Reddit because there's a lot of
Okay.
good questions on there. One other thing I would like to add is for those of you that are watching, you're probably experts on Daedalus. And what I anticipate happening is once this staking, once the incentivized portion, we are not yet at the incentivized portion, we're still on the networking portion, but once it goes live, it's going to draw a lot of attention and a lot of people who've been dormant for the last year and a half or 2 years. Some people, they bought their bags, they put them away, and they don't even think about it. They're going to become active again. That came out a little bit in Charles AMA yesterday about they're going to see how much activity is on the testnet based on how many people introduce their seed phrases into the testnet wallets. Well, a lot of people who've been dormant are going to become active again. They're going to need help. So feel free, if you're an expert or you're confident in your knowledge, go into Telegram and help out because they'll be popping back up into Telegram. And it's a community effort. So we appreciate all of your efforts. If you're willing to help out there, we definitely will need some help whenever that time comes.
Agreed. Agreed. And I'd also like to add a point to Rick. This is a lot of wallets will be becoming active. Also, the number of scams is going to increase. So please note that although Rick and I are ambassadors, although we host the Cardano Effect, although we are present in Telegram, please be very wary of imposters. I haven't had an imposter yet. I don't know about Rick, but there are imposters within the community. Do not send your ADA to anyone. You are delegating to a pool. At no point are you going to send your ADA to anyone. Not me. If you decide to delegate to either of our pools, you're not sending your ADA to us. So if someone asks you to send your ADA or, some kind of scam where you send and you receive, no. That's not how it works. Please don't do that. If you want to verify, you can watch us every week. You can ask us questions directly in this chat. See our face, and we will give you the answer. And make sure the handles that you're talking to on Twitter and on Telegram are the correct ones. Rick and I are not responsible for anybody losing any kind of money in any type of scam, impersonation scam. We can't find all the impersonation scams and close them down. That's not how it works. So it's going to be upon the community to make sure that you guys rally together and you stay vigilant. There are thieves out here, just like people are out here to rob you in real life. They're robbing you on the internet as well. So please be wary of that.
Yeah, thanks for putting that out, Philippe. It's always good to have a reminder of to be wary of the scams, especially since they're stealing our photos and using them to make a fictitious account. So just be alert to that. Okay, we're going to hop back over to Reddit and go through. There's a lot of really good questions on there. I highly encourage everyone to go through the Reddit thread, and you'll see an Emurgo badge next to the official answers per se. Let's see. There's another question. Oh, this is a long one. Let me go down to the next one, and we'll come back to that. Sorry, I'm losing track of them. Where am I at?
No
What's our
worries.
next one, Philippe?
So the ledger support question, we answered that. So no hardware support. We can go to. I'm trying to see where the next big Nico comment is.
Yeah, it's the next one down below, and it was from RL Goer, and he says, "I'm reading over the IOHK technical papers, and I just note that they are great, but they are written in a style that academics use to talk to each other. To create a larger pool of non-academic coders, system administrators, finance experts, etc., who understand how things work, will require a different kind of documentation. I'm a data engineer, an old Unix hand, familiar with many programming languages." And so they're saying, hey, can you simplify some of the information? The response from Nico is that there are some good docs and videos that review IOHK's work out there. The delegation specs are relatively easy to read. By the way, I would start from there. All right. So my suggestion is the IOHK YouTube channel and the Emurgo YouTube channel. And if you don't find what you need there, check out Adattainment. There's some really good YouTube videos that break down the complex information and make it much simpler. Philippe does it on his Vilpa channel, and Sebastian does it on his Sebastian Guillemot channel and also on Emurgo. So check out the YouTube videos. They're doing a really good job of taking the complex concepts and making them much simpler and easier to understand.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I see what I did. I clicked away from the thread.
Okay.
Going back to the thread that I linked. All right. So the next one we're on looks like from Oscar.
Okay.
We hit Oscar. Can you please detail the percent return for staking and the percent ROI differ over time or will be different between testnet and mainnet? Dreams PSI thankfully answered that and linked it to the article. There was a mention of 6 to 12%. That's 6 to 12% annually. So if the testnet runs for 3 months, then it will be 25% of 6 to 12% over that period of time. If you have 100 ADA and it was 10%, that would be 10 ADA per annum. And then a quarter of that, 2.5 ADA for every 100 ADA, for example. It's just a quick example. Okay. All right. So that's a good question. The percentage is a very important question. The probably the best answer is it will be tested. Like they'll throttle it. You're going to have different ROI testing during testnet. They're going to have to test it at 6, 8, 10, 12, various numbers and see how people respond. As Charles had mentioned in an AMA, they also have to test the people. They got to test the software, but you got to test how do people respond to those numbers. And the stake pool operators are also going to be testing the stake pool returns, although that feature is not available yet. They got to find out, will 5% work, and will 5% cover my costs of operating the stake pool? For example, I say 5%. A stake pool operator might do 5% or 8% or 3%. Or some number. Some people are going to do 0%, and find out, will that be sufficient to support the operation of the stake pool? So it will be, if the stake pool operator says 10%, then it will be 10% of the 10%, or what is that, 0.1%?
Yes.
Okay, of the total revenue. So it's really not all that much. However, that also has to be tested. What is the percent ROI, and what percentages work well for pool operators or not?
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. That is
All right.
correct.
So thank you to the other Reddit users who are helping out their expert answers. I appreciate that.
And remember, when you see the percentage returns, the annualized percentage returns, this is also assuming this is the price of ADA over time is going to appreciate. I am pretty confident in that. So not only will you be receiving rewards, but you'll also be receiving appreciation on the principal and the value of your rewards. So, let's say it's 5% and ADA doubles over the next couple of months, then you have that plus the amount that you receive for staking. So it's really a win-win if you ask me. But once again, you are your own financial advisor, so you decide whether or not it is suitable for you.
All right. Thank you, Philippe. And we're going back over to the questions in chat. I just resorted here to make sure I'm seeing the latest ones. There's one from Satoshi Katamoto. Okay. So if you have my ADA on Yoroi through my ledger, I need to send my tokens to Daedalus wallet and then download testnet and enter my key. Yes, in general, that's the general idea. You have it on the mainnet. On ledger, you have to move it on the mainnet off the ledger to a regular Yoroi non-ledger. Then that key phrase, some people call it keywords, some people call it a passphrase, some people call it the word seeds. They all mean the same thing. Your 12 or 15 word seed will have to be entered on the testnet. There will be more to follow. We'll make sure we get some videos out with precise procedures once we get to that point.
That is correct.
Because one mistake and poof, you're out of the game. So precise procedures are important.
Yes.
Jonathan Laurie asks, hodl or sell? I love that question, Jonathan. I can't give financial advice. I'm sorry. No financial advice, buddy. Sorry about that.
We have a question upwards. It says Einar from Einar. I've heard about the minimum of staked ADA, 1, but is there a maximum amount of ADA that you can stake at any time? There's no maximum. You can stake as much ADA as possible, but there are things called saturation points for pools. So that means that after it hits a maximum, the rewards that you receive will sort of depreciate. So you won't be receiving as much rewards percentage-wise as other people. So, if you are a very, very large whale, I'm sure they're going to split up their ADA in multiple wallets. We do not know what that maximum amount is. It all depends. There are various different factors, including how much is staked at any particular time. So, yes, that's the answer to that question. And who will pay for the rewards from Relax King? Who will pay the rewards for staking for IOHK, Cardano Foundation, or Emurgo? So if you go on CoinMarketCap and you look at the circulating supply, and then you look at the max supply. The max supply is the total number of ADA that can ever be produced for eternity. So there's a natural, you can call it inflation until we get to that max supply. So rewards are generated. When rewards are generated, it's taken from the uncirculated supply of ADA, the unminted supply of ADA. So that's what we'll be paying rewards for everyone. The IOHK, Cardano Foundation, Emurgo, Rick, myself, everyone will receive the rewards from that slight inflation. And people ask, what happens when the inflation is done? Well, by that time, we'll have governance, we'll have voting, we'll have a whole bunch of different things, a treasury, and it's actually the transaction fees that are going to be used as staking rewards. So the system is going to be kind of cyclical. So at no point will staking ever stop. Over time, the staking rewards may decrease. I mean, if you look 10, 20, 30 years in the future. But at the same time, 10, 20, 30 years in the future, ADA will likely be significantly higher price-wise as it is right now. So, yes.
Yep. Oh, and keep in mind when you're staking ADA, you are doing work. The process of, I'm not talking about the pool. Each person, when you stake your ADA, it's the same thing as running a miner. The effects are the same effect. It secures the network. So when Philippe refers to inflation, I think Cardano did inflation correctly, as in it requires effort in order to generate more ADA. It requires you to do something of value. It requires you to take this ADA and say, I'm going to dedicate it to that pool in a manner. It's not permanently dedicated, it's dynamic. But it has the same effect as running a miner. So keep that in mind. You're actually doing something productive by staking your ADA.
Yes.
It does have the same effect. I've run a miner, except that it doesn't burn all the electricity and you got $300 on top of your electric bill at the end of the month.
Yes, that is correct.
That miner's gone. Money off it anymore. Okay. All right. Any other questions? And we'll head back over to Reddit.
I think that's good. Falcon
Philippe,
Eye Vision. Go ahead.
What will your stake pool be called? From Daniel J.
Oh, Stake Cardano. So go to stakecardano.io and you can drop your email and we'll send updates when the time comes. But I'll be very active on my own YouTube channel and I'll be doing some live streams as well. So I'm here to help everyone out. And Rick, we need to hear more about your staking pool. So.
Oh, my stake pool is Digital Fortress. Fortress Online. Digitalfortress.online is my stake pool. I had some other names I was going to use and I realized, no, I'll just use Digital Fortress.
Perfect. Yeah. And Rick will also be active on his YouTube channel. So Rick is a great source of information and he'll be able to help you out. So there are a lot of people that are going to be sending videos as well as people from IOHK, Emurgo, and the foundation. So you should take their advice as gold. And then, if you need further clarification, then you can come and visit our personal channels and see what we're talking about.
Yes. And thank you for that, Philippe. I get my content by stealing yours. I watch your video and I should make a video like that. And Rex Nicely, Crypto Dad. Like, that's a good idea. I should make a video like that. No, just kidding. Some of them are original. You guys got me laughing. Jonathan Laurie says, I have no kids. So I want to double my money. Jonathan, you already doubled your money. Double it again. Double it again. Elite Trance recommends washing stuff in vinegar. Okay, so I think we're going to questions here.
Rick, one more question that just popped up that's very important. If we want to divide our ADA in different staking pools from different wallets in Daedalus, is it possible? Do you think there's a risk that our ADA can get lost? Not talking about security hacks. There's no risk that your ADA is going to be stolen on the testnet or anything like that. If your seed phrase is compromised, that's separate of Daedalus, that's separate of Cardano, that's separate of IOHK, that's an internal hack that you're having from outside hackers. But your ADA is safe on the blockchain. Regarding to dividing your ADA to different staking pools, so if you have, let's say, 3 different wallets, Sebastian clarified, I believe, that during the testnet, it's not going to be able to, it won't be possible to divide a single wallet into multiple staking pools. That's going to come when Mainnet comes. So say you have a wallet with 1,000 ADA, you won't be able to send 500 ADA to Digital Fortress and 500 ADA you won't be able to delegate 500 ADA to Digital Fortress and 500 ADA to Stake Cardano. That won't be possible. That's going to be possible when the mainnet happens. So if you want to delegate to multiple different pools, advice is you probably should start splitting up your wallets now and create multiple different wallets to delegate your stake. That's the only way it's going to be possible within the incentivized testnet.
Thanks for clarifying that, Philippe. There's also some more detailed answers in the Reddit thread that we're reviewing. So back to Reddit?
Yes.
All right. I'll go to the next one that was from ASD Ferris, because you were busy thinking and talking, so I looked it up.
Okay.
He said, ASD Ferris asks, did the Haskell client lose the race to production against the Rust client? If so, what are the implications on the grand design? And that is theory to formal specification to implementation. Brigger59 gave a heads up and said, David responded that in the last AMA. I would recommend you have a listen. They're not going to the current plan is not really to kill the Haskell implementation if the Rust wins or kill the Rust if the Haskell wins. It's to run them both in parallel, really. It was also touched on during Charles' AMA yesterday. They're both going to exist at the same time. You're going to have the Rust version running Jormungandr on the testnet and eventually onto mainnet. You're going to have the Haskell implementation of the Daedalus wallet, and they will coexist. And as things are learned better over time, it may lean towards one or the other, or both may continue to exist side by side. But it will take time to figure that out. It's kind of incredible that they're building both implementations at the same time. And eventually we're going to find out which one is better or which one fits better and where. I wouldn't put aircraft tires on a race car and I wouldn't put race car tires on an aircraft, but they are both high performance tires. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
yes.
My current guess is they will both exist for some period of time until we find where do they best fit. Just an example.
I think that was a good answer, Rick.
Thank you, sir. And there's more info. Oops, I can't follow all the links. All right. You want to get the next from DNSC UK.
So this Reddit thread is a little bit old. So they were talking about issue number 860. Will it be resolved? The person says, we are running Jormungandr testnet node, but we are facing a huge issue known as the number 860 problem. So if you go to GitHub, there's a list of issues, and each of them is assigned a number. So you can see exactly what is plaguing the Jormungandr testnet. And every time that the node operators and Stakepool operators and future potential Stakepool operators run into an issue, it's recommended that you put your issue on GitHub, because that is the direct communication link between the Stakepool operators or the future Stakepool operators and the IOHK team. So 860, I forgot what issue that was, but Charles responded a day or two most likely. So that was 21 days ago. So I'm sure that issue has been solved. And but there are other issues that need to be solved now. It's not like it's issues that are continuously happening, new issues that are happening, and they're addressed as they show up on GitHub. Rick, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I would like to follow up. Okay, so we're above issue number 1000 at this point, which is okay. It's a test net. And although 860 was fixed and the protocol has been improved, other issues show up. For example, RC4 was released on Friday. It was attempted to be tested last evening. And although it worked well in the Petri dish, when it was put live, there were some problems. Now they got to fix those problems, but that's okay. This is very normal for software development. I've been exposed to software development process for over 10 years now as a tester and user on very complex software. This is perfectly normal. Industrial grade software goes through this. Like, you'll fix one problem and it creates a different one. Then you fix the different problem. And sometimes it seems like you go, wait, I thought we already fixed this problem. But it's not the same. It's a new problem that was introduced from a previous fix. Eventually, you get them all worked out. It does take a while. So everything so far, in my opinion, looks good. We're on track for having a pretty well functioning test net by the end of November, in my opinion, based on experience. Yeah, I think the staking of the incentivized portion may more likely come online in December, vice November, but the networking portion, I anticipate by the end of November, we'll have a really solid networking version running.
Okay.
Hopefully that helped.
Yes.
But you will see more bugs come up, and you'll see some that look the same as older ones. That's just how it works. That's why it's a test net. We're good on that.
Yes.
Next question from Vanderkant.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, I think we already touched this one, but once the snapshot is taken, can I send my ADA to a non-Euro or Daedalus wallet, like a hardware wallet, a third-party wallet, or an exchange wallet, and still receive staking rewards? The answer is yes. You have to move it to a non-hardware, non-exchange first. I do have a screen capture of that. Should I put that up?
Yes.
I think the screen capture will help answer questions in the big picture, in the big scheme of things, questions
And,
that have not yet been asked.
and remember, it's after the second snapshot is taken. The second one, there are going to be two. So make sure that you stick around for the second one as well before you start moving things around.
Let me see if I can do this. Ah, yes. And there it is. Okay, so this is from an IOHK tweet and other sources. Here's the list on the left. Where can I keep my ADA? Daedalus Euro Mobile, Daedalus Paper Wallet, Euro Paper Wallet, green checkmark, checkmark, checkmark. Then you got the red indicator on exchange. No. Hardware. No. Third party. No. The details on the what do I need to do might change, but this is the current details. Okay. So make sure you stay alert. Most of these say you don't need to do anything. Like if you have your funds on a Daedalus from a long time ago, it will be captured in a snapshot. You know what I'm thinking, Philippe?
Yes.
Does a person still have to take their word seeds? They still have to move it to the test net and they still have to delegate it. So even if your ADA is sitting in a Daedalus wallet from a year ago, you still have to actively enter your word seeds. You don't have to change wallets. If your ADA is sitting in a Daedalus 1.2 from a year and a half ago, you're still okay, but you're still going to have to put your word seeds on the test net. So keep that in mind. I don't think that's a mistake on here. It just didn't amplify that detail. So then
Yes,
you
that
get
is
further
correct.
you get further down the list to where it has the red indicator if it's on an exchange, and it gives you amplifying details. To take part in the incentivized test net, you'll need to move your ADA to a Daedalus Euro wallet. You can't do it from an exchange. Same with the hardware and same with the third-party wallets. Atomic, Infinito, ADA Lite. All right, good on that. Should I drop the screen share or you got anything to add? Any
Good on
questions
that.
on that?
Good on that.
Okay, off we go.
So everyone that's still in the chat right now, if you've been dormant for a while in the Cardano ecosystem, just kind of watching from a distance, these next, I don't know, 5 to 6 weeks, this is you're going to have to just stay a little bit attentive to figure out exactly what's going on, especially if you want to delegate your stake to a pool. You need to make sure that you just tune in. There's going to be a lot of information. And as soon as the second snapshot is over and you enter your seed phrase into the test net and you decide which pool to delegate, you can go into hibernation again. But until then, you're going to have to wake up from hibernation, stay in tune to what's going on. There are going to be a lot of updates that people send out, and just make sure that you're getting your information from reliable sources, and it should be good for everyone that wants to do it.
Yep. And you know what else helped out, Philippe? That screenshot answered the next couple of questions. Like Walla Bones asks, I have my ADA on my Daedalus wallet for years now untouched. Perfect example. The answer is yes, but you still have to move your key phrase or your passwords, your word seed, whatever you want to call it, your 12 or 15 words. They still have to go to the test net for you to point to a pool. I'm going to skip down to the question from Dunky Ned.
Okay.
Okay. Dunky Ned asks, when downloading the new incentivized testnet Daedalus, Will this interfere with the existing Daedalus wallet on my computer, or will they be two separate distinguishable programs that cannot be mistaken for one another? And the answer is they will not interfere. There's an answer from Emurgo. That was Nico KAO0112. They will not interfere. And I saw that this morning and I tested it. Right now, I have two Daedalus running simultaneously, one on the mainnet, one on the testnet, and they do not interfere.
Okay.
Okay.
We have some questions in the chat. Do you want to jump back to chat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a question from LSL13PNIR. Who is expected to make the transactions in the testnet? Will there be a pool of addresses to send transactions to each other? So I would like to start on this question and then maybe pass it over to you, Rick. But the testnet is a fictitious testnet, so it's likely that they're going to be stress testing it with a lot of fake transactions, like not real ADA transactions, but seeing how the network can handle multiple different loads. So it's likely IOHK has some kind of program or algorithm to make sure that they test every possible scenario of what could go down within the ecosystem and what could go down for Cardano. And you'll likely, you're going to benefit from that. But these transactions are not real world ADA. And I'll pass it over to you, Rick.
Yeah, this is a really good question. What I should do is retype that question into the Reddit thread, because currently the only ADA we're working on the network testnet is from the faucet. And during the incentivized testnet, I'm going to have to assume there will be no faucet and all the ADA on the testnet. So we're going to have to do something to incentivize people to make transactions. And I'll give you an example. You can create a second wallet and send it to yourself, and that would generate transactions. But this is a really good question. I'm going to repost that into the Reddit thread. Unless you want to get that Slipner 13, SL13 PNIR. If you want to post it in there, go for it. If I don't see it in there shortly, I'll go ahead and throw that question in there, because that's a really, really good question.
Yes. We have a question from XRP Poland. Hi, guys. Any news about rewards percentages? So we covered this earlier. It's estimated that it might be between 6 to 12%, anything within that range. We don't know yet. It hasn't been verified. Redman says, what are saturation levels? How are those levels determined? Saturation level is the point in a pool where there's basically diminishing rewards. So say you hold a very large ADA wallet. Let's take the Cardano Foundation or IOHK, who have let's take IOHK, who have billions of ADA, and Emurgo have billions of ADA. At some point, the max gets reached, so it's not like they're going to be, if the return rate is 5%, they won't be earning 5% on all 2 billion ADA or whatever they own. It's likely going to be significantly lower than that. So what they're going to do is they're going to split it up into multiple different pools and reach a saturation point for each pool. How are the saturation levels determined? It's determined by IOHK has some sort of formula that they've implemented, and the number of ADA that are staked at any given time will determine the saturation level, and it will likely go up and down, but it will follow a probably close range after a while.
Yes, one of our Reddit users answered this question. Hunman Mask 88 asked the same question, and the maximal proportion of the rewards that a stake pool can receive will be limited by 1 divided by K, where K equals the maximum number of stake pools desired. What will the value of K be? So this kind of helps answer the question. So the maximal proportion is 1 divided by the number of desired. Currently, what's commonly talked about is 1,000. Presently, on the network testnet, there's about 200 community-operated pools. So we're almost 800 short of 1,000. So the current 1 divided by K is going to be about 1 divided by 200 or 1 divided by 300 or whatever that number is. And then that's going to help determine that number. Did that help with the question? There's more details on the Reddit thread. That one did not receive an official answer. What is K? The number of desired stake pools. We don't have an answer on that. What I've heard the most is it gets kicked around.
Yes.
So not all questions on Reddit have answers, although they're really good questions.
Yes.
I scrolled way down to get to that one. Sorry, I'm
No
off.
worries.
I'm out in left field now. Okay. I'm usually out in left field anyway. Let's see, where are we at?
We have one question from um, Turquoise Olive. Hey guys, can you briefly touch on how once the snapshot of my ADA and Daedalus is done, the staking works? I'm confused because if I can remove it after the snapshot, how do I stake? So once the snapshot takes place, so say you have 1,000 ADA in your wallet, you will also receive 1,000 testnet ADA. But in order to access your testnet ADA, you will have to download a separate testnet version of Daedalus or a separate testnet version of Yoroi. Once you open that, you will enter your seed phrase in order to unlock your testnet ADA. From there, you'll be able to decide which pool you're going to delegate your ADA to. It's as simple as that. And after the snapshot is done, the second snapshot is done, you will be able to move your mainnet ADA. You can sell it, you can send it to an exchange, you can send it to a friend, you can just create a new wallet, you can do whatever you want with that wallet. But until then, it's going to be a little bit active as to how to access your testnet ADA, but it should be self-explanatory, and there are going to be plenty of videos online, so don't fret if you don't feel like you have the computer skills that you need. But it will be easy, and people will make it as easy as possible, and we're here to answer questions.
Yeah, and that is the confusing part. I have to remind myself once in a while, both will exist simultaneously. Mainnet ADA will exist separately from testnet. You can do whatever you want with your mainnet ADA once you get it showing on testnet, not transferred, but existing on the testnet. And one won't affect the other. Good questions. Do you want to scan for new questions? I'll hop back over to Reddit for a minute. We got a couple more good things over there to hit on.
Sounds good.
HUDmask88 asks, will stake pool operators on the testnet have a public-facing website for their pool? Nico's response is not necessarily, but if they want to attract people to their stake pool, probably it would be helpful. So the really cool thing about Daedalus, the examples that I've seen, is it will have the stake pools listed in Daedalus, and they will be generally prioritized in order of desirability, which is pretty amazing. If stake pool operators want to bring in more people, they can optionally create their own website or whatever form of advertising that they want to do. And one of those forms of advertising is at some point we'll get the stake pool operators on here whenever they start getting when they start getting a warm fuzzy, we'll bring them on. If we do bring the stake pool operators on, it will be pre-recorded. It will not be live. So pre-recorded is very easy to do. It's a more comfortable, more relaxing environment to participate in the podcast. So thank you for that, HUDmask88. And lots of good questions in here. Lots of answers from Emurgo also. One question was from Anda Balrana, and that was, is there a step-by-step video to set up a node on Mac? So in this context, they're referring to a Jormungandr node, and it is for non-technical people. And the answer there is a link to the IOHK Zendesk, how to install Jormungandr. And the parent link to that link is the Getting Started guide. That is the best source. Go to the IOHK Zendesk and click on the Getting Started guide for setting up Jormungandr. And it doesn't matter if you're using Linux, Windows, or Mac. Use the Getting Started guide. It's about 95% complete. You will have questions. Go to the Stakepool Best Practice Working Group Telegram to fill in the remaining 5%. The community members there will help you out on getting the final configuration for setting up a Jormungandr node, which is different than the Daedalus and the Yoroi that will be used as the Stakepool user. The Getting Started guide is for the Stakepool operators. Cool.
Yes.
This Reddit thread is awesome, man. I love it.
It is. It is.
This is great.
Someone asked for the link real quickly. Hold on. Let me.
Are you going to drop the link again?
Yes.
Okay. While Philippe's doing that, I'll get to the next one from XL Portum. And the question is, when will stake pools be visible on the wallets for Daedalus and Yoroi? Would be good to see what is out there and registered so far, so long. And Nico's reply is, you will need to download the new version of Daedalus in order to see them. The date hasn't been announced yet. Okay, so once the new one comes out, you will see the stake pools in there. And Hunmask88 asks again, will stake pool operators on the testnet have a public-facing website? Oh, I just hit that one. That one's good. Optional for stake pool operators. Will the pool operators from Ether Hobs, will the pool operators have a page within Daedalus Wallet where stakeholders can see a list organized by criteria, location, payout, and other selling points? And Nico's answer is yes to organized by criteria. Location is tricky. And Yoroi, they will add a language filter in the future. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Merrick has a good question here from M. Mahat. Will IOHK and Emurgo and the Cardano Foundation, really good question. Will IOHK, Emurgo, Cardano Foundation delegate some of its ADA to the pool operators that are not backed by whales? Okay. So as most people know, IOHK and Emurgo have something in the billions of ADA, and the Cardano Foundation has about almost 700, a little over 600 million ADA. And Nico's response is, at least Emurgo is considering creating some of its own stake pools and delegating to other stake pools depending on their desirability. Delegating to pools outside of the top K, the K parameter being the desired number of pools, is not following the protocol, and I don't think it would help to correctly test Shelley. So my take on this one, Philippe, is I hope they do. I hope IOHK, Emurgo, and CF create pools and delegate to their own, and also delegate some of their ADA to the pool operators in order to properly test the testnet. Now, that means they will be getting reward returns, which is fine. It's more important to test the protocol and make sure it works. And Merrick and I had also discussed this separately. And so this is a really good question. Will they delegate to some of the pool operators? The true answer is, I don't know. It's up to them. I hope they do. I certainly hope they create pools because we need that ADA on the testnet to test the protocol. As long as someone doesn't hold more than 50%, then in one, under control of one person, will be okay. And I don't think they do.
No. I
2 billion is hard to compete with, though. It is possible. It is possible. If you take the current group that's in there, 200 pool operators, and you add, I don't know, maybe 2,000 participants who are delegating, might be hard to reach 1 billion. I don't know. There are some whales out there. Hopefully they jump in the game.
And I want to remind everyone that when you have the option to delegate, and I know this might be self-serving, but I really think that if you want to grow the Cardano ecosystem, you want to make it as big as possible. Should IOHK, Emurgo, or the foundation open up some pools that are public pools that you feel that are very reliable that you can delegate to, I would recommend that you support your local stake pool business, support the third party, support the pools that are outside of the three. They have plenty of ADA and they have plenty of money, and they're going to be able to generate their returns by running their own pools, which is great. I don't think that if you're worried about concentrating the wealth within Cardano or within this ecosystem, I mean, it is what it is. They're going to continue to grow, but let's continue to grow as a community as well. Let's try to build some power, and that's delegating to the individuals that you feel are best aligned with what you see the Cardano ecosystem will be like in the future. So consider delegating to your local small business or local stake pool. And I mean that. So that benefits all stake pool owners outside of IOHK, Emurgo, and the foundation. They'll do fine. Trust me.
They will. We have a good question from Snowbelow15 in the Reddit thread. There's a lot of really good questions in there. And they ask, what could be the worst scenario in case of some network or Ouroboros failure or even an attack during the testnet? Would my staked ADA be at risk? Nico's response is basically, no, it will not be at risk, but it's going to be two separate networks as a precaution after the snapshot I would move the ADA, the real world ADA, to a new wallet. So the mnemonics for the ADA, there's a fourth way of saying it, mnemonics. Mnemonics for the ADA for testnet are different from the ones on mainnet. Good point, Nico. I hadn't thought of that. I'm going to do that as well. So you will have to everything we already talked about so far. Good answer, but a different type of question. What's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is the testnet can break. It's already kind of broken. It's not really working yet on the network side. So, but the mainnet's still running. Two totally separate networks. So the risk is minimal in that context. All right, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're at that time.
We are approaching the end.
We're at the
Rick,
end.
I don't know if you wanted to. Let's cover some of the news that happened this week. We answered a lot of questions from for staking pools, and we dropped the Reddit thread, and we can include it in the link in the description down below. But we wanted to cover a couple of the newsworthy articles this week before we sign out. And once again, as the time approaches, there are going to be more videos done by us on the Cardano Effect channel, on the Digital Fortress channel, on the Phil PA channel. All of the channels, there's going to be more content created to help you out. So we can have that discussion later. But for now, let's see what happened this week. There are a couple newsworthy events. I wanted to cover the top newsworthy event for this week. ADA was added from Crypto Tracker. ADA was added as a payment option to book at over 1.65 million hotels globally on Travala.com. So Travala is a traveling website, so you can go and book your travel, your hotel stay, and whatnot, and you can pay in ADA, which is pretty cool. Very cool. Travala is not a Travelocity, or it's not that big, but it still generates traffic. So anyone that's accepting ADA it's fine by me. What do you think, Rick?
I think the more places you make available to spend the ADA, the better. It's just a matter, of how much is that used and how much of it is going to be used in ADA. Currently, I don't think people are going to want to spend ADA because they're like, well, why would I spend it now when I can collect it and hold it and it'll be worth more money and I can spend it later? So I'm glad they're doing it. It is definitely necessary. I don't expect too many people are going to be using it because they'll probably want to wait.
That is true.
You can convert it right now. I just got an account on Kraken, and ones that have US dollars, so I could convert money to ADA and use it on the spending. My next goal, I haven't done it yet, is get the spend card, the SPEDN card, where it gives you pretty much limitless options on using ADA because it converts it to fiat.
Okay.
But it's also good to see we need companies like that using ADA as a native transaction fee, as well as those restaurants in Japan. I would like to add, though, to the Emurgo shout-outs. That's why I'm wearing my Emurgo shirt today.
Okay.
If you guys check out the Emurgo Twitter feed, the Emurgo blogs, there's so much going on there. It doesn't seem to bubble up to the top of Reddit. So I'm going to start taking the links of all the cool stuff Emurgo does and drop it into Reddit and see how many upvotes it gets, because they're busy, man. They got all kinds of stuff going on. The latest thing on the tweet, I went to their Twitter page to look up the recent business things that the developments are. And I found the main thing is Nico's AMA in Spanish is going to be on Monday at 6 p.m. UTC. So Nico Arqueros of Emurgo will be participating in the AMA and in Spanish. And you'll have Alejandro Garcia of IOHK and our Cardano ambassador, Carlos Lopez de Lara. If I say your name wrong, please forgive me. But we have our Spanish-speaking, both community members, ambassadors, and members of IOHK and Emurgo doing an AMA. That's fantastic. Love it.
Shout out to Emurgo for
6 p.m. UTC on Monday, November 4th. So check out Emurgo's Twitter feed. A lot going on over there.
I'd also like to plug a recent podcast that we did. It was earlier this week. We released it on Friday morning. It was with Mario Laranjera, and he is the manager of the team of provable security at IOHK. And we talked about a lot of things. We talked about what makes Cardano secure, what protocols that he's working on. We talked about trusted execution environments. We talked about Intel SGX, Spectre hacks, quantum computing, everything that dealt with security. We kind of dabbled in, and there were some great questions on Reddit as well. So if you want to know what he's doing and what work he's doing, we talked about his papers as well, Kaleidoscope 21, and one more paper that's not coming to my mind right now.
Royale, which is more
Royale.
important because Royale can be used for any card game, which is important in solving problems. So any card game can run a Royale. Kaleidoscope is specific to poker or 21? Poker.
I think it was poker. Yes.
It's poker. Yeah.
Yes. So he's a very smart guy, and it was a very fun conversation. We learned a lot. So check that out if you're interested. Provable security, and that's what we do on the Cardano Effect channel. We get very intelligent people that are working on the project to fully disclose exactly what they're working on, because it's not like their face is in the limelight. And we want to know exactly what's going on. And they're gracious enough to come on the podcast and answer our questions and answer Reddit questions. And we're going to continue doing that, trying to get some industry experts to see exactly what's going on. None of us work at IOHK, Emurgo, or the foundation. So we only have a third-party perspective of what's going on. So it's nice to hear what's going on from the actual professors, from the actual people that are working on the project. So check that out.
Yes, and I got one last question I want to hit in chat, and I'm done, Philippe. And that is from Alan D21. He asks, can anybody create a stake pool, or is that reserved for whales? Anybody. The answer is anybody can create a stake pool. It is not reserved for whales. Chances are a lot of stake pool operators are not whales, okay? I'm just guessing at that, but I'm probably correct. You can have a smaller amount of ADA. For example, I have less. If you go on the Block Explorer, wallet number 1000 has 3 million ADA. Well, guess what? I don't have 3 million ADA, but if I did, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be trying to run a pool. Okay. But if you have less than 3 million ADA and you're very clever and you're good at marketing, advertising, web pages, you're very polite, or whatever it is that you do, you're going to get more delegates. So skill, talent, and experience will pay off more so than being a whale. And I think the most successful pool operators are going to combine a couple of skill sets and may or may not have more than 3 million ADA. Okay. But probably the best combination is if the pool operator has more than 3 million ADA to pledge, and they have skills and they have all the other, that's probably going to be the more successful pools. Uptime is the most important factor, though. Keep that in mind. Uptime, I think, is number one. Correct? I think it is.
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. So yeah, to answer your question, anyone can run a stake pool. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be a whale.
This is true. And I wanted to, because there was a project that just got released from Marcus over the RockPi project for stake pools. So I guess there's some kits that you can buy, and you can set up your own stake pool, which is nice. It really brings in, if you want to learn more or you want to experiment things on your own, go for it. Go for it. Personally, when you're delegating to a stake pool, I don't want to talk bad about the RockPi or anything like that. I think it's a great initiative. But if Cardano is going to be successful, we're going to need some stake pool operators that are using servers and running with more heavy equipment, and delegating your stake to someone with a RockPi in their bedroom or in their office. It sounds wonderful at the beginning, but eventually it's not a real business. It's not going to be sustainable over a long period of time, because home internet is spotty. There are issues with uptime, and there are just issues with home networks. There's a whole issue. I can get into a whole discussion about that, but basically, make your decision wisely and think about long term. You've been in this project for a long time to start off with. Most of you have been around for months, if not a couple of years. So think long-term when you're deciding to delegate to a staking pool. Think about what long-term solutions are going to be. Think about the individuals that are running the pool, and think about how dedicated they're going to be 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now, and whether or not they're still going to be operating in business. Because at the end of the day, this is all about making sure that this process is as smooth as possible for you, and understanding that once you delegate, let your pool operators work for you. They work for you. So let them work for you, and let it be a prosperous relationship, business relationship for the both of you. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I always use EOS as an example because EOS is quite successful. EOS has 200 pools listed on the EOS Network Explorer. They only need 21 as block producers. They got 21 primary and 21 backups. So up to number 42 could become block producers any moment when they need the backups. But only the top 50 appear to be reliable, in my opinion. So if I'm wrong, please don't kill me. Just correct me. The top 50 are so reliable. Once you start to get to 50 to 100 pools, this relates to what Philippe just said. They start dropping off. They show the block count at 0. I don't think those pools are functioning whenever you see that. Then once you get into the 100 to 200 range, there's a lot of them that are not functioning apparently, where they show the block count at 0 as opposed to somewhere within so many blocks. So the EOS network is very effective. But just be alert, Cardano could see the same growing pain where we swell to 1,000 pools and 500 pools die off, or people give up, and the node dies and they're like, whatever, I'm not making money off that thing anyway, so they ignore it. The same thing could happen to Cardano. It's okay. The network will still work. It'll be all right. That's how the protocol's designed. It'll be fine.
Fair assessment. Fair assessment.
Okay. Yeah, that ties to exactly what you just said, but I brought it into what is EOS seeing, and this Cardano could see something very similar. All right, good. Sense. Ready to go?
Okay.
Thanks for the questions, everyone.
Yes, so thank you. We'll be tuning in next week as well. We're contacting guests, and hopefully we can get another special guest soon. So I'd like to remind everyone, please like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps us out. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Cardano Effect Podcast, episode 56. This is a big month for us. This is a big month for the project. Everyone should be happy. Even though the markets are just stagnant for the past, months, it's just been looking at, it's like watching paint dry. But at the end of the day, we're working. And Testnet Snapshot will be happening this month. We're not sure when incentivized staking will start, but maybe towards the end of this month, maybe in December. But keep in tune, have one ear open, make sure the sources that you're getting information from are accurate, and they are reputable. So stay safe out there, everyone. Enjoy your Sunday. And once again, thanks for tuning in. Until the next episode of the Cardano Effect Podcast, bye, everyone.